It feels good.
What's up, everyone? I'm Dwayne. I'm a dude with an Autotude, and today I'm here with my friend Vince showing off his Ford GT. Comment below if you know what year this is, but without further ado, let's get into it. Thanks, Vince. Thanks for joining me on this and showing us your Ford GT. Tell us about it.
Well, I bought the car in 2005, November of 05. And back then you couldn't order one of these. What this is the anniversary edition.
Okay.
And when I say that, I think everybody knows the story of the 60s when the GT40 won 4 years in a row in Le Mans. Well, in 2002, it was Ford's 100th anniversary, and Bill Ford said, we want to highlight the 4 years we won Le Mans as part of our celebration. And he said, build me a prototype of the GT40. And so they built one of these in yellow. And when he drove it out at the new car show in Detroit, everybody just went wild. They said, Ford's finally going to build the GT40 for the public.
Now, they only thought they were only going to make it for a prototype for the anniversary celebration.
That's what Ford was telling them. They said, no, this is one of one.
Oh.
We're not going to start producing these. This is one of one. Well, there were magazine articles about the car at the new car show in Detroit, and it was on Car and Driver, Road and Track, Auto Week, Hot Rod, and Motor Trend, the 5 largest car magazines in the world.
Yeah.
And each article had a picture of the car with a brief description of it, and at the end of each article it said, Ford has no plans to put this car into production. However, if you would like to see the GT40 built, you can let Bill Ford know, and it gave his email address.
Oh, I bet that got flooded.
I don't know how many millions of emails Bill Ford got saying, I want a new Ford GT. But I was told he called production and design in his office, and he said, there's enough demand for the Ford GT. If we do a limited run, we can sell a few cars. He said, how long will it take this to get ready for production? And they said, oh, 50, 55 months. And he said, we don't have that much time.
They want it now.
You've got 15 months.
Wow.
And they said, we can do it. And they said, go for it. And they literally worked on this car 24/7.
Wow.
For 15 months, and they got it done.
So this is the first year.
It's the anniversary edition. And how a person can tell an anniversary car, it says 100 on it. Bill Ford wanted it to say 100.
Where do they put that?
You won't be able to find it, but it's very simple.
Is it in the headlight?
Right there. No, stand back.
Oh my gosh, it just popped out. I just saw it. Oh, that is pretty cool.
That one does nothing.
So it's a reflector that...
It's not even a reflector. It's just,
so it's just
when
3D
do you want me to turn on the lights?
So it shows nothing.
Let me show you.
Yep. But it indicates the 100th.
It makes the headlights say 100.
So what'd they do on the next year? They take
Same.
That,
it's the same
thing?
This is the anniversary edition.
Oh, the edition. Okay.
And they built these in 2005 and 2006. In 2006, in September of 06, the CAFE standards changed to where they can no longer build this car.
Really?
Now listen to this. The windshield is too slanted.
Okay.
If you're in a front end collision in this car, and your seatbelt doesn't hold you in, and the airbags don't hold you in, they want you to be thrown through the windshield.
No.
You're almost laying down in this car.
Yeah, you're probably far enough back.
You're not going to go through the windshield.
Right.
They want a windshield more vertical, so you'll be thrown through it.
Doesn't make sense.
No, not what's, and the other one was side impact. Well, I can understand that.
Right.
This has a roll cage.
It's probably full cage too. What array of colors came out with these? Were they selective that only Ford provided, or
no,
could you choose?
How these were distributed to people, they had a drawing. This dealer will get one, this dealer will get one, this dealer will get one, and so on and so forth, which was smart. If they'd have sold this like they sell Mustangs or F-150s, they'd all been sold in Miami, Dallas, Houston, Phoenix, Los Angeles, Chicago, the big dealerships.
Right.
Now, the first 1,000 cars went to presidential dealerships. After that, it was just the luck of the draw as to whether a dealer was drawn. My car was scheduled to go to Paris, Arkansas, and that's who I dealt with. I was fortunate enough to find the site on the internet which told me where all the cars were going, who all had won. So I just started down the list. I wanted a red one. They have red, they have blue, they have black, they have yellow, they have silver, they have white, They have Heritage, which was the blue and orange, which was the colors the 68 and 69 winner of Le Mans ran.
Oh, cool. When you purchased this, you had to get in contact with Paris, Arkansas dealership.
I saw
and
that
tell them you're interested to get on a list?
I saw that Paris was getting one. So I called the dealership. I said, I see you're getting a red Ford GT. And they said, no, we have a red Ford GT. I said, you've already got it? And he said, yes. I said, do you have a reserve on it? He said, yes, but we're lowering the reserve this morning. I said, how long have you had it? He said, 3 weeks. I said, you don't want to pay floor plan on that, do you? He said, no, we don't. We're going to sell it this week. And I literally bought it over the phone.
I want it now.
I
Before someone else
I want it,
swoops in.
yeah. I said, do you have a lot of demand for the GT? And he said, we've got a lot of people looking at it, but nobody's going to buy a Ford GT in Paris, Arkansas. We sell pickups.
It sounded like it was perfect for your situation.
Oh, absolutely.
That
It was a small dealership. They didn't even have a showroom. This sat out on the lot.
Oh, my.
At night, they would put it in the garage.
Oh, man. Yeah, you don't want to leave this out at night.
No.
Make sure it's still there in the morning.
But most dealers, when they were informed that they were going to get one, they found a buyer before they ordered it. So they could order it the color the buyer wanted.
Right.
And with the options the buyer wanted.
So,
Paris, Arkansas had already ordered it in red with the options I wanted.
This was meant to be.
Oh,
Vince.
absolutely.
This was meant to be.
I wanted these wheels.
Uh-huh. And it already had the wheels.
It had these wheels on it.
Imagine that.
This is the standard wheel. The high performance wheel, which is lighter weight, is 10 spoke, which an old man like me, I'm 72, I wanted it to look like the GT40 of the 60s.
Right.
They didn't have 10 spoke wheels, they had 5 or 6 spoke wheels.
Right.
That's what this had. The wheels were all silver. I painted the centers black.
How big are those wheels?
The fronts are 18 inch, the backs are 19 inch.
Okay, yeah, I see the little bit of difference there. And the tire size you run on these? 345 35 ZR19.
Yeah, 345s.
Yeah.
They're big.
That's a big tire.
Got a couple tires in here, ready to go. This is exactly the way the car came out, with a couple exceptions. I put the numbers on the side.
Well, you got to have a number. It's a race car.
Kids like numbers.
Yes.
And every kid growing up had a little GT, right?
Yes.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Little Hot Wheel.
Sure.
And it had a number on it.
Had a number on it, so I put numbers on it.
How'd you choose a number? Is there significance to it, or did you just choose one?
Well, I tell people that's my IQ, but this is my birthday, actually. I was born in 52.
52. Nice.
I also, and my wife did this, we pinstriped it.
Oh, that really popped the white stripes out.
Just gives
just
it
a little bit.
Little bit of extra.
Little depth.
Yes.
Plus it goes well with the black 52.
Sure. Back here, these louvers from Ford were plastic.
Those are metal.
These are billet aluminum, as are these. These I painted, these I didn't.
I like the contrast.
Yeah.
They complement each other.
The plastic ones would get hot and warp, and they were about $650 a pair.
That didn't make
No.
sense. We'll go with
So I spent a little more, and I've got something that's going to last.
I even like how you put the 52 right here.
Yep.
That's probably the
car.
way they had it. People sitting in stands.
Sure, sure. Well,
they could see the number
well, see
down
the
on
infield,
top.
they're scoring. As the car goes by, they see the number. These are the tracks I've had it on. I like to track this. We have GT rallies every year.
Right.
And no one knows where it's going to be or when. Like this year, the rally was in Scottsdale. We were notified about a month and a half before the rally, when and where it was going to be. And it's always somewhere where there's a track, where we can put these cars out,
Well, you want to run them.
drive them the way they were meant to be. This is something that I never thought I would see on an American production automobile. This warning sticker. It says, to reduce the risk of potential tire failure that could lead to serious injury or death, increase front and rear tire pressure to 40 psi when driving over 150 miles an hour.
That's good. Increase. Oh man, you think you would want it decrease for corners and stuff, but maybe they're talking straight away.
Well, I was talking with some of the executives from Ford when I was back there. And I said, I love the warning sticker. And he said, our legal department spent about 3 months going over this and finally decided there's no other way to say it.
You have to be upfront.
Goodyear wanted that on there.
Well, it probably, if something did happen that gets them, well, there was a warning sign on there.
Something else
Legally.
Goodyear required on this car. It had a 213 mile an hour governor on it.
Does it now?
No. And when I say no, the car, when it came out, Roush was commissioned to do the engine on this. And they told Jack Roush they wanted a V10 because they needed 500 horse. Jack said, I'll give you 500 horse, but it's going to be in a V8. This engine that he's built, and do you want me to open this now?
Yeah, let's take a look at this. It's kind of cool seeing how the door is shaped.
That's to get in and out of Le Mans.
That is cool.
This was all designed for Le Mans originally.
Quickly switch drivers?
Now this will stay up without this, but I always put it in.
Yeah, that's a good
Because
idea.
if somebody's looking at it and someone else touches it,
could fall.
you get clobbered.
Wow, look at these tires. They do look huge.
Yeah, and those are filthy. But anyway, the car is a 5.4. Same displacement as the Triton and the F-150. However, this one has dry sump oil. It's all aluminum, 4 valves per cylinder.
Wow.
Intercooled, supercharged, 2 injectors per cylinder.
Oh, wow.
When-
it doesn't misfire that easily.
No. When Roush, well, the second injector comes on at 4,000 RPM when the supercharger starts working.
Wow, because it's pushing more fuel through it.
Oh, absolutely. On the racetrack, running this wide open, I get about 48 miles on a tank of gas, 17 and a half gallons. I'm driving it on the highway. If I'm real careful, I can get 22 miles to the gallon. If you open it up, you're only going to go 45 miles.
Wow.
This engine that they delivered for the GT from Roush was 700 horse on pump gas, 800 horse on fuel. I was told that there was a discussion with Jack Roush about that. And he said, I thought you wanted at least 500. And they said, no, we don't want all our new owners to kill themselves. Anyway, 2 people I've met from Ford. In fact, Brian McAllister up here was head of Roush in Dearborn for Ford.
Wow.
Craig Barker did the final tune on it.
And he's on the engine.
They were to tune the engine down to 500 horse. They couldn't get it that low. But
Good.
They got it down to 550. Now when I was
Still a lot of horse.
when I was in Detroit and got these signatures that I've got, my wife and I went out with Craig and Brian one night for dinner. And we're talking and they're telling me all this. And I said, you mean my engine's capable of 700 horse on 91 octane pump gas? They said, very easily. And I said, what do I have to do? They said, you want us to show you? I said, no, I want you to do it. So they did.
They did it. So this one's been tuned for what it should be.
It's what Roush meant for it to be. Can I show you what was done?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to need to go in the garage and get it.
They spun up the supercharger.
They put a larger pulley on the supercharger to slow it down.
So they just put the smaller one.
With this on it, my boost is 12.5 pounds.
What is it with the smaller one?
With the smaller one, it's 15.
And that's all it
That's
took.
100 horse different.
Have you noticed if it runs a little warmer?
No, no. They also did a different flash on the computer, which is another 67 horse.
But this alone, something physical.
And there was nothing to change in this.
Yeah.
No.
So easy.
I mean, they didn't even have to change belts, the tensioner.
It just fit right on.
Fit right on, yeah.
That was a great engineering design to be able to come up with to turn it down a little bit. Very easy for them.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
And they didn't really have to do anything to the internals of the vehicle.
No, nothing was done
to
inside the engine. Nothing. No. It's the same engine.
That was very smart.
My horsepower is now 725.
That's a lot. What's this car weigh?
About 3,500. Now, not only did we do the pulley and tune, they said, do you want it to sound better? I said, well, I think it sounds great. They said, do you want it to sound better? I said, okay, what are you going to do? They said, we're going to take the muffler off.
What'd they put?
That was the muffler.
Oh, you know what? I was looking down in here, seeing those pipes, and I thought, that's pretty cool.
Straight pipes.
Straight out. Very nice.
Now, you heard it when I backed it out.
Yes.
Is it loud?
Not too bad,
The catalytic converters quieted it down.
but I bet you get better airflow.
I gained 19 horse and lost 40 pounds weight.
There you go.
That's why I'm not 700 horse, I'm 725, okay?
That's awesome. It's pretty neat seeing this carriage with the coilovers, how they did. Oh, and it's independent suspension.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
And when the cars first came out, they found one of the early cars that had a crack in the A-arm. So any car that was built with that casting was recalled, and they changed the A-arms. What that amounted to was the first 500 car.
What number is this?
474. Look at the A-arms. Those are billet aluminum.
Oh, wow. Yep.
After they had the first 500 done with these billet aluminum, they had their casting method figured out. And so the rest of them are cast. But I've got one of the earlier
You
ones
got the billet.
with the billet arms.
I'd leave them on there.
Oh, absolutely. They said that's about $7,500 worth of A-arms you've got on this car.
Yeah, I wouldn't switch those out. You want it all original the way you had it anyway.
Oh, absolutely,
From
absolutely.
the factory.
These autographs I have are the people that built them.
Oh, that's cool. How many people were on the team when they...
Well, I don't know. There were 9 build teams.
Oh,
See, here
okay.
it says Team I. That's not Team 1, that's Team I.
So they're the ones that built it.
They're the ones that built it. And when I was touring the facility, they were still going to build them for another couple weeks. They were winding down, but they had 2 more weeks to go. And whenever I met anybody, I would say, were you on Team I? And I've got
Oh, so
the
you
date.
knew the team so that you could get their autographs.
Right. I knew the team and I knew the date it was built. Were you on Team I this date?
So did you get everybody?
I think I've got pretty much everybody.
That's
now,
pretty cool.
There's a couple on here that they weren't actually on the team. For example, Fred Goodnow, he was in charge of the builds. Chris
Involved.
Theodore was vice president of Ford on the GT. He was vice president of Chrysler on the Prowler.
Oh, wow.
He was vice president of GM on the Corvette. He gets around.
Wow.
Wonderful
Yeah, you
man.
want his
Wonderful man.
autograph on there.
Absolutely.
I noticed these are functional.
Everything on this car is
That's
functional.
functional air sucks the air in.
Everything. One thing is for looks.
What is that?
The 100 on the headlight.
The 100.
That's the only thing on the car that's for looks. Everything else has a reason.
That's awesome.
Everything
I
else.
guess you would have to get the air in somehow.
Yeah.
And that's a great place for it.
Comes in right here. When they were doing the pulley and tune, they said, is this a car you're going to keep or is this something you're going to sell in a couple of years when it goes up in value? I said, I've never driven anything like this. I'm going to keep this as long as I'm
I would
driving.
keep it. Yeah.
And they said, well, then you want everything to last. I said, well, of course. They said, you need a transaxle cooler. I said, that sounds very expensive. They said, well, the pump is in the transaxle. They had a loop.
That's it.
I said, what does it take to put a transaxle cooler on? They did this in about 7 minutes. They disconnected this and hooked this one up and put it right here. Add another quart of fluid.
Put it right inside the where
Right
the air
inside-
flows
where the-
right through it. Yeah.
It's got a Ricardo 6-speed transaxle. This transaxle was used on this car and on the Bugatti Veyron. Those are the 2 cars that it was used on.
See all your heat pad there.
Oh, sure,
On your
sure,
firewall.
sure.
That's cool.
This is Camilo Pardo that designed the car. That's Edsel Ford.
Yeah, that's a Ford?
Yep.
Wow.
This is Steve Saline. The car was built at Saline in Troy, and then it was loaded onto a truck and taken across town to Wixom, to the Ford plant. And at Wixom, they put the engine in and got it running. Saline was a non-union plant. If it's going to say Ford,
Yeah.
it's got to be UAW.
Yeah.
Wixom got it running.
Wixom got it
Wixom
running.
got it running. Saline built the car, and Wixom took it apart,
That's
put the engine
pretty
in.
cool history.
The Roush engine.
Yeah.
That's what's so wonderful about this car. Saline, Roush, and Ford, aren't they all competitors?
That's what I thought.
They all worked on this car.
That's something pretty special.
Saline built it, Roush did the engine. It's a Ford car. I mean,
The technology and all the brain
oh yeah,
thought
everybody got
process,
together. Yeah.
everything into this car to make it the best of the best.
This chassis, which NHRA won't let me run on their drag strip because they can't inspect it. I make one pass and they say, park it, you're too fast.
You don't tell them until you get your first pass.
One of the early prototypes, and I found this out at one of the rallies, they had some engineers and they said, if you have any questions, these guys can answer it. And I said, I've heard rumors that one of the early prototypes was put in the crusher at Ford. And one of the guys stood up and he said, I was there. Yes, that did happen. He said, we put the car, the GT in the crusher, we turned on the crusher, there was a huge pop, and it wasn't the car, it damaged the crusher. I saw him
That's amazing.
about an hour later. It was a big hotel, and I saw him in one of the restaurants, and I'm walking through and I waved and he said, come over, and I went over. He said, I'll tell you 2 more things about that car we tried to crush. I said, what? He said, well, we took the body parts off of that car, they were a mess, and we started measuring the chassis and we could find absolutely no damage.
So it didn't bend it, didn't torque it, didn't do anything.
He said that chassis was used in a production car.
Wonder whose car.
I said, what number? He said, no.
He wouldn't tell you?
No. But somebody's driving the car
That was the
that
prototype.
has the chassis that they tried to crush. that it wouldn't do anything.
So if that got out and they knew what that was, would that car be worth more being a prototype?
Who knows? Who knows? I was told that they used the same software to design that chassis that Boeing used on the 767.
Wow.
I was at a car show at Century 2 in Wichita, and there were two guys there, and they're looking and they're getting under it, and I said, can I help you with something? They said, no, we're just looking. And I said, that chassis was done with the same software Boeing used on 767. The other one said, see, I told you, those two guys work for Boeing. And I said, they tried to crush this, and it actually damaged the crusher. He said, hell no, you can't crush this. It won't crush.
Is it a certain type of metal they used
It's aluminum. It's a certain type, obviously, but it's just the design of everything. It's
how everything was
the way everything
tied together.
is tied together. I'm not an engineer. I don't know.
Amazing.
But this thing, you can't crush it.
That's just amazing. Yeah, and I see your dry sump now.
Yeah,
Engine oil right here.
Yep, that's it.
That's pretty cool. Got your, so okay, that's where it brings in air as well.
Right.
Sucks in air
See?
from that.
See, everything,
Everything's functional.
it comes in right here
Yeah.
and goes in right here.
I really like those tail lights.
They got the prototypes done,
Uh-huh.
and they took them over to Nardo, Italy, to see what kind of speeds it could run. Mark McGowan, who is Ford's lead test driver, said this car is good for 212 miles an hour all day long.
Oh, he wrote it down there too.
Yeah, he signed it. Yeah,
212.
5904.
Wow.
That's when he drove the prototype. But he said to Ford, he said, we can't sell this car to the public. And Ford said, why not? He said, because it wants to start flying at about 160 or 170 miles an hour. And Ford said, well, A.J. Foyt and Dan Gurney ran the same design in the 60s, 214 miles an hour at night in the rain at Le Mans. And he said, that's A.J. Foyt and Dan Gurney. We're talking the general public.
And that's in the GT40.
The GT40. Now, do you know why it was called the GT40?
I do not, but I know the name Dan Gurney was involved with the Daytona that the GT40 replaced. But I don't know why they come up with the 40 or how.
The rules, the car had to be 40 inches tall. It ran the GT class. Do you know what the car said on the side?
What?
Ford.
Ford.
We're Americans.
Right.
It was got to be 40 inches tall, and it's a GT class, so it's a GT40.
4D.
Now,
Ford. Yes.
40.
Yep.
40 inches.
Yep.
Now, did you see the movie Ford versus Ferrari?
I did.
There were two times in it where Ken Miles is standing there holding a little wooden shim. You remember that? They didn't say what those were, did they?
No, they didn't. Were they for?
That was to get it up to 40 inches.
Where'd they shim it?
In the Springs. This is a pre-race inspection. They had it up to 40 inches. They drove across the scales, and they drove over a block that had to be, I think it was 5 inches minimum clearance, and then they measured the height. Now, after they went across the block, they lined them up to race. There was no post-race inspection. Those shims didn't last a half a lap.
So they came out on their own.
No, yeah, they were wood.
Yeah, they were wood. So they
Didn't last. No. Now, this is a bigger car. It's wider, it's bigger, and it's more than 40 inches. It's 44.
44. So wow, that was a low car. 4
Yes.
inches will make a big difference. Plus they had to get it up to 40. How much did the shims provide?
It looked like an inch or better.
So 38, 39 inch tall car,
And lower to the ground.
lower the ground.
That makes a big difference. Now, there was a spot in the movie where Enzo was complaining because they were changing a right front hub. You remember that?
Yes.
Phil Remington, Shelby's chief engineer, had the car designed. They could change all 4 rotors in less than a minute. When they came in for fuel and tires, they also got entirely new brakes, new rotors, new pads,
New bearings.
everything.
Isn't it amazing what they come up with?
I've talked to people that have raced Le Mans, driven, and they said if you don't know what you're doing, you will go through a set of brakes in 1 lap. Those cars were going 24 hours.
So they had to change them.
They didn't have to, but they could drive in
Right.
a little deeper and a little harder
Yeah, that's true.
because every time they'd get fuel, they had new brakes,
yeah,
entirely new.
push the car a little more than they
That's right.
might have been able to
That's
push
right.
before.
That's right. Ferrari was convinced, see, they were running 7-liter, the 427 in this at Le Mans. Ferrari, they were certain that it was the 427 that was letting Ford win. So Ford won with the 427 in 66 and 67. In 68, Ferrari got them to drop the limit to 300 cubic inch, thinking Ford's not going to be able to run that big block anymore. The Gulf Western car that ran and won in 68 and 69, same car by the way, the blue and orange, it had a 289 in it.
It did?
Yes.
289?
It had to be under 300.
Oh my gosh, could you imagine a 289 running like that? It
had
high RPMs that it can turn.
Sure, sure.
That would be amazing to listen to that.
It had Gurney Westlake heads on it.
I wonder what the flow was on heads like that.
Can you see that sun visor there? Can you see the bottom of that? I'm sure you can't.
Not very easily, no. I see some writing on it, but I probably have to lay down to see it.
A.J. Foyt and Dan Gurney.
Dan Gurney was on the top?
Underneath.
Underneath.
A.J. Foyt, Dan Gurney, Carroll Shelby's on the top.
Carroll Shelby, oh man. Yeah, you want those in the car.
On the driver's side, I've got Mario Andretti, Jack Roush, and Steve Millen. Do you know who Steve Millen is?
Steve Millen, I do not. I know.
Have you ever heard of Stillen?
Stillen?
Stillen? Have you heard of Stillen?
Oh, yeah, now I have.
That's Steve Millen.
Okay.
That's where that name came. Stillen, Steve Millen. He's from Wales. When I was in California, I met him at a car show, and he said, start yours up, and he listened to it. He said, you're running a little rich, bring it by my shop tomorrow. I took it by, he dyno-tuned it.
Isn't that crazy how they can hear just riding in it because they're so used to being in?
They know, and he races, you know.
I'd like to take a ride in this thing.
We can do it.
I think it'd be fun. I just keep seeing more and more and more and more and more.
I mean,
I
could go on and on about the exterior and everything.
Well, let's take a ride and...
Real quickly, let me show you what I've got, and I want to show you in a little bit if you're interested at all. I mentioned the chassis. That's the chassis.
Oh, wow.
See that?
You're not smashing that.
No.
That's amazing.
When the GT came out, there's a few magazines that picked it up. My wife and I had dinner with Carroll Shelby.
That's cool. And this is your car?
This is my car.
That's a nice setup you have there.
Mario Andretti was in town at Cooper Tires.
Oh, nice.
That's the guys getting ready to do the pulley-in tune.
Edsel Ford, Steve Salen, Jack Rouse, Camilo Pardo.
He was the designer.
This is really nice. Nice documentation.
You see what top speed is?
Oh, is this your car?
That's from Ford. That's the GT times, vehicle speed and gear.
Wow.
You see how fast it'll go?
What's that say? 259. 259 miles an hour.
That's without the governor.
That's crazy. That's good. That's good. That's cool. Oh, it's got. Oh, you got two sides.
Oh yeah.
That's you on a track.
Yes. Notice how close to the tires the body is.
Yeah, that's very.
I'm turning right. Okay?
Oh, yeah, I see that.
Okay, now. Punch it down to where it's low like that.
How do you move it?
That's how fast I was going.
That it actually, Wow, you can't even move that.
No, I was probably doing 120 or 30 in that corner.
That's amazing.
You see?
I bet that was a thrill.
Oh, anything's a thrill in this car.
To get in that. That's pretty cool.
People don't believe it. When Ford said the thing wants to fly at speed, I said that earlier, they put this chin spoiler up front. See right here?
Uh-huh.
They put that on. They put these ground effects on.
Is that to hold it down?
Back here, they've got a diffuser that sucks it down.
Oh yeah, down at the very bottom.
They put a little wicker bill right here.
Uh-huh.
Can you get down and look at the bottom of the car?
Oh wow, it's all flat.
All the way.
All the way flat.
I have to remove 47 screws to get the plate down to change oil.
Oh man.
Do you notice the dimples?
Yes, little dimples all the way.
That smooths out the airflow going into the diffuser.
All the engineering they put in these.
Those are dimples like there are on a golf ball.
Yeah, you can see them.
That's why the golf ball has dimples.
So that it can fly.
Goes through the air better.
This is really cool. What is this up here? Oh,
That's my trunk.
little bitty trunk.
That's my tuner in there. I've got it stuffed in there.
You got a toe strap and
Okay,
stuff
that
if
goes-
you need it. Is that what this
That's what the arrow's for.
arrow's for?
That's
To
where
tell
it
you
goes.
where it is?
See where it goes?
Yeah, and it screws in the.
Yep.
Very nice.
If you're on a racetrack and you have a flat tire, you run out of gas, you have a wreck, you have an engine problem,
You
if you
pull it
come to a
off.
stop, there's wreckers that's going to have you picked up and going to the pits within 20 seconds.
They don't want to cause any more accidents or.
Well, their
endanger
job
you
is to
sitting
clear
there.
the track.
Yeah.
If you've got an arrow, that's where they go. If you don't have an arrow, they just pick it up and go.
Yeah.
I don't want them doing that on mine.
No, I wouldn't either. Is there
So-
just one in the front
Yeah,
that would grab? Okay. Well, I'd like to take a ride.
Well, get in.
All right. Oh, yeah. You are truly on the ground in this.
Now, put your seatbelt on so you stay in the car during the wreck.
Exactly. Wow, that dash is really cool looking. I like these toggles.
Nothing fancy, just what you need.
Exactly. And the
No cup holder, you know.
oh, you don't.
You don't need all that stuff.
No, you don't. I like how you can look at the engine right here.
Right.
That's cool. Speaker.
Speaker, woofer, CD player, AM, FM radio.
Boy, I bet this was a comfortable ride going to Arizona.
Oh, well, yeah.
I mean, you sit well. It fit the lumbar. It fits around your body.
Except there were two of us, and you know where you put luggage?
That little spot, or in your lap, or your feet.
We have hanging bags behind each seat.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Or we
Fit
just-
right in
yeah,
there
they fit
and-
right in there. Yeah.
You probably pack minimally.
Yeah.
You know, just whatever you need. I like the handles. I mean, everything was the silver. Oh, all your air conditioning controls and everything's
Right
right here.
There is no cruise control on this.
I don't think I'd want it.
It's,
You probably don't need it, do you?
well,
Maybe going to Arizona.
I've got a friend in Detroit that worked for Ford, and he had cruise control put on his. He said it's bad.
Oh, is it?
You don't want to hit resume.
Oh, it probably sucks you back and goes. Yeah, I do that in my normal car, you know, just, yeah, I bet you hit resume and it just takes off.
Yes.
I see why you probably don't want that in there. Oh, this is cool, seeing the paint coming, the red. Ooh, that feels like some torque. Oh, that feels good. this was fun out on the open wide
it's a ball.
highway.
It's a ball.
And that windshield does not slope back too much.
Well,
I mean, it's out of your face. It's not even in your face.
Well, it's aerodynamic, you know.
It just sounds good hearing the engine right here by your ear.
Yeah, it doesn't handle very well. Let me show you.
Oh my gosh, Vince. That thing has a small ratio. Wow, that's amazing. I thought I was going in the ditch.
It's wonderful.
It is.
Let's see if there's anything coming down here. Yeah, there's cars down
It feels real, feels like you can feel the road, but it's a comfortable ride. But it feels rigid like it is. I mean, it's a true race car. That is, I just can't believe how quick.
Isn't that wonderful?
That is wonderful. How responsive it is. Just like it just doesn't even. That might get people in trouble if they're not used to that, though. Used to driving a car like this.
Well, I've got almost 50,000 miles on this.
And what year did you say you bought?
2005.
2005, the year of the car. Yeah. Yeah, I bet you guys had a good time riding in Arizona. Nick told me all about some of the people that showed up. Oh, wow. It feels good. This thing just feels like it's. Wow, I did not realize it got that fast, that quick. But you could feel the G-force,
Sure.
and it felt like it just sucked to the ground. Like it's made to do
wonderful.
this.
It's wonderful.
It's just
It
like,
is made to do this.
it's like being in heaven, man.
Yeah.
That was awesome. And I will tell you, Vince, I've never been in a car going that fast. I looked at your miles per hour, just glanced over. Wow. And the sound, just music to my ears. And it's right here. This, man, I'm in awe.
Isn't it wonderful?
This is wonderful.
Well, you've been in some other cars. You felt anything like that?
No, not at all.
Didn't want to run over that.
No, definitely. Wow, it just felt in the seat when you. The seat holds you in.
It's comfortable.
It holds you in, like you don't slide out of it with the way it wraps around your body. Oh, this is awesome.
When you see how you get on a racetrack and really have some fun with
Oh
this
my
thing.
gosh, man. That would be so fun to get on a racetrack in this. And you can barely see the front end. You see a little bit of the red, a little bit of the white. You see the fenders. The fenders kind of sit up a little bit. That transmission feels like it has a short ratio within each gear. Oh, this has been fun. What's this latch?
That's to open the clamshell.
So you have that over there to be, because you weren't reaching in to open it, were you?
Yeah, I'll show you when we get back to the
Okay.
house. Yeah.
Okay.
Don't open it now.
No, oh, this was open.
No,
so
no.
yeah,
Yeah, it's open. You can get to it very easily.
yeah. I was wondering how easy it was
Yeah.
when you were doing that. But with the top of this door, when it opens up, it gives you the room to lean in.
Right.
Okay, that's. I kept thinking it was something down along the side.
I didn't break the speed limit, did I?
No, not at all.
You see how fast you can get to 200?
That was quick.
We weren't going 200.
No, we weren't, but it was. Like I said, that was the top speed I've been in a car before, and it felt very controlled. It felt very comfortable, and it felt very safe. And the car was made to do that, so
Yes.
that's what it was manufactured for. Well, Vince, I really enjoyed this. I want to thank you for taking the time to show it to us and giving me a ride, because talking to Nick about it, he loves this car. He loves the time going with you.
Well, the first time
out there, and
we went on a rally together, and I think that one was in Vegas. And we got to Tucumcari, and we went in for lunch, and we came back out from lunch. I said, "You want to drive for a while?" And he said, "You'll let me drive?" And I said, "Yeah." I handed him the keys. I didn't get the keys back till we got to Vegas. I mean,
I bet. Yeah, go ahead and go straight. I bet he really enjoyed that. Yeah, everybody turns and looks when they see this.
everybody.
Oh, that back pop when you let off the accelerator just really gives you that feeling. Thank you, Vince. That was
do
a
you
blast.
think?
That was, I
Was that
love it.
fun?
I love it. That was fun. Appreciate it.
Dwayne, we'll do it again.
Yeah, that was a blast. Yeah. You do have to watch your hair.
Oh yeah.
All right, everyone, we just got back from a ride in this beautiful 2005 Ford GT. And I want to thank you all for watching until the very end of this video. And I want to thank Vince for showing us this beautiful car. And if you haven't done so yet, click that subscribe button down below for me, as it's the best way to support my channel. Anyways, I hope you all enjoyed this one, and we'll see you next time on Dude with an Autotude.